Have you ever been so mad that you just lost it when someone said or did something that hurt you? Do you have days when even a quick look or a random comment feels like everyone's against you? In today's fast-paced, high-pressure world, it's easy to get swept up in a storm of negative feelings, from little annoyances to full-blown rage. But is there a way to stay calm and not let anyone mess with your peace? Can we really live a chill life without letting others' emotions get to us? Stoicism is an ancient but super powerful way of thinking that gives us deep and timeless answers. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca went through tough times, but they kept their cool thanks to this philosophy. Today, we're going to look at 7 practical ways to not just handle your emotions, but really take charge of your soul. What I'm sharing isn't just some theory. It's based on the valuable lessons of Stoicism, broken down into things you can actually do. So, stay with me and don't miss anything. Applying even one of these methods can instantly change your life, so let's jump in. First up, embrace willingness in life. A key idea in Stoicism that leads to inner peace is fully accepting whatever comes your way. This doesn't mean you have to enjoy or agree with everything, but it's about facing situations head-on without pushing back. Marcus Aurelius said in his Meditations, "Accept the things fate throws at you and love the people fate brings into your life. But do it wholeheartedly." Accepting things is key to breaking free from that endless loop of anger and frustration. Think about it. When you're doing something boring like washing dishes, if you do it grudgingly, it feels like a fight with every dish. But if you tackle it with a positive attitude and some gratitude, it suddenly doesn't feel so heavy. Epictetus says in his discourses not to wish for things to go your way, but to want them to happen as they do, and then your life will flow better. That's the essence of being willing. Instead of fighting against life, just go with the flow. You can even apply this way of thinking to annoying situations, like when you're stuck in traffic. If you sit there getting mad about the delays, you'll just get more frustrated. But if you think of it as a chance to catch up on a podcast or think about your day, that stress just fades away. When we accept things as they are, stress doesn't hold us down as much. A big part of this acceptance is figuring out what really matters to us, instead of just chasing after unimportant goals. Let's think bigger. Ask yourself what your vision is. What kind of life do you want to create? Unlike personal goals, which often lead to short-term wins like making money or getting stuff, a vision covers your whole life. When you live with a big vision, every action feels like a choice because you realize that everything, good or bad, is part of your journey. By going with the flow of life instead of fighting against it, you find a deeper sense of freedom and peace. And hey, think about volunteering too. When you have to meet a work deadline, it can feel really stressful and boring. But when you jump in to help a cause or lend a hand to a friend just because you want to, it feels rewarding even if it's tough or doesn't pay off in a material way. The key is your mindset. Choosing to do something makes it feel like a blessing, while feeling forced to do something can feel like a burden. You can use this idea in everyday life too. When someone says something rude, you've got 2 options. Don't let your emotions take over and make you react in anger. Instead, see it as a chance to practice being open-minded. Remind yourself that this person is just being themselves, but you don't have to let it mess with your peace. Accepting life as it comes doesn't mean you stop trying to better yourself or your situation. It just means realizing that some things are out of your hands. This way of thinking takes off some pressure and helps you concentrate on what you can actually change. For example, if someone criticizes you at work, Think of it as a chance to learn and grow instead of taking it to heart. It's your reaction, not what happened, that affects your peace of mind. Being open to change is a journey, not something that happens overnight. Start with small steps, accept your mistakes, see challenges as lessons, and handle daily annoyances with grace. Getting this mindset down will help you get less worked up and less affected by outside stuff. You'll find a strong inner strength that lets you live life your way. And hey, stop judging others. Have you ever thought about why we get angry or annoyed with others so easily? Maybe it's because we're always judging them. Seriously, think about how many times a day you catch yourself saying, "That person is so annoying," or "I can't trust that one." These judgments not only hurt others, but they also weigh us down. In Stoicism, letting go of judgment is a great way to free ourselves from negative feelings like anger or frustration. We all tend to see the world through our own personal lenses. When someone doesn't act the way we expect, we quickly judge them. For example, if someone is driving slow in front of you, your first thought might be, "What a loser." But have you ever thought they could be a new driver or just being cautious because they've got kids in the car? It's not the outside stuff that makes us feel a certain way. It's how we choose to see it. Judging others just adds extra stress to our lives. Judgment isn't just a passing thought, it can lead to anger. Imagine you have a coworker who's always late to work. If you think they're just lazy or irresponsible, you're going to get more and more frustrated. But if you consider that they might be taking care of a sick family member or dealing with their own issues, your view might change. This doesn't mean you're okay with them being late, but by letting go of the judgment, you protect yourself from feeling unnecessarily upset. Stoicism isn't about ignoring problems. It's about seeing them in a clearer light. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "You always have the choice to not have an opinion." There's no point in getting all worked up or stressing over stuff you can't control. Nobody's just good or bad. We're all a mix of actions based on what's going on around us and what we understand. Think back to a time when you didn't handle things the best way. Maybe you were tired, stressed, or just having a rough day. It's the same with others. Their actions aren't set in stone. In a supportive place, even the most flawed people can show some kindness. But when the pressure's on, anyone can slip up. Imagine yourself at a restaurant. When a server accidentally spills water on your table, your first reaction might be anger because they're so careless. But if you take a moment to think about it, maybe they're having a really rough day. You'll feel a lot better. That's the power of letting go of judgment. It not only eases your discomfort, but also helps you feel more empathy for others. Just to be clear, not judging doesn't mean you're okay with bad behavior. It just means you won't let their actions control how you feel. You can still tell right from wrong. Don't let negativity take over your thoughts. Like Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to rise above those who hurt you. The best way to respond to harm isn't with anger, but by keeping your cool and staying dignified. To practice not judging others, start by being aware. Whenever you find yourself judging someone, ask if that thought is really necessary or helpful. Then, try to see things from their point of view. What might they be going through that you're not aware of? And remember, everyone's got their own story. These differences make life more interesting. Just because someone isn't like you doesn't mean they're wrong, and it's not worth your energy to judge them. Letting go of judgment helps you drop those emotional weights and sets you free. Next time someone gets on your nerves, take a moment, breathe deeply, and ask yourself if it's really worth feeling this way. You'll see that by approaching things with empathy and understanding, you're not just being nicer to others, but also to yourself. So, really think about it. Do you want to keep holding on to that anger? Do you want to live a life full of freedom and peace? The choice is yours. Number 3, let go of control. When you stop judging others, you discover a deep truth. A lot of our frustration and anger comes from expecting people to behave the way we want them to, but that's not how the world works. People are complicated and act for their own reasons, often ones we can't grasp. This brings us to a bigger question. Do we really need to control everything to find peace, or does peace come from just letting go? This is the essence of Stoicism. Instead of wasting your energy trying to change things you can't control, learn to accept them and let go of unnecessary stress. You might not be able to control life, but you can always choose how to react to what comes your way. Picture this. You're stuck in rush hour traffic, cars honking all around, and you're about to be late. Anger bubbles up as you wonder why everyone drives like this and why traffic never seems to get better. But the truth is, you can't change how others drive. Clear the roads or not, the only thing you can really control is your mindset and how you react. You can choose to be upset, or you can take a deep breath and accept that some things are just out of your control. It might sound simple, but letting go of the need to control everything can really change your life. A mom might always stress about her kids' grades, but she can't take their tests or make them succeed. An employee might be annoyed by their boss's crazy decisions, but they can't control what their boss thinks or does. Negative feelings often come from having unrealistic expectations about things we can't control. When reality doesn't live up to those expectations, we feel let down. I once met this really passionate young entrepreneur who spent years working on a tech company, hoping to change the game in his industry. But when the product finally launched, the feedback was a letdown. Frustrated, he started blaming customers for not getting its value and even thought competitors were trying to sabotage him. Those feelings just stuck him in a cycle of bitterness and helplessness during our chat. I recommended that he concentrate on things he could actually improve instead of getting hung up on stuff he couldn't control. This shift gave him a fresh outlook. He stopped pointing fingers at others, fine-tuned his product, changed his strategy, and started to really focus on what his customers needed. By letting go of things outside his control, he felt more at ease, more creative, and ended up doing way better than he thought he would. Stoicism not only changes how we see challenges, but also makes us ask ourselves in stressful times, is this something I can control? Am I wasting energy on things I can't change? Is my reaction making the situation better or worse? Asking these simple questions can really help you shake off negativity. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up or being lazy. It's about zeroing in on what you can actually change: your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Think of it like rowing a boat down a river. You can't stop the current, but you can steer your boat to go with the flow. A good Stoic practice is to think ahead about potential challenges. Before you kick off your day, take a sec to think about what could go sideways, like plans falling through, co-workers messing up, or bad weather. Being ready for these things makes it way easier to deal with when they actually happen. Letting go isn't a weakness, it's actually super freeing. When you stop holding on to things you can't control, you'll find a real sense of peace. Start with baby steps. Don't try to change how others feel, get stuck in the past, or cling to what you can't hold on to. Life moves on like a river. When you learn to go with the flow, you'll discover the peace you've been looking for all along. Number 4, embrace imperfection. In life, none of us can escape those frustrating moments or even feel angry when people don't act the way we want them to. But have you ever wondered why we expect perfection from the world and those around us? Stoicism teaches us that wanting everything to be perfect is just an illusion, and that illusion is what causes a lot of our suffering. Realizing that imperfection is part of life is key. You're taking the first step to letting go of the negative feelings that come from other people. Think about it. Have you ever felt let down because a coworker messed up their job and it messed with your work? Or maybe you were upset when a friend didn't keep a promise or a family member said something hurtful. These things happen all the time. But can we really expect everyone to be perfect? Epictetus points out that it's not the events themselves that get to us, but how we judge them. Our anger and frustration come from how we react to what others do. The messy, imperfect world doesn't have to change just to make you happy. What really needs to change is how you see it. For instance, think about preparing really well for an important presentation, but then, at the last second, a colleague messes up the supporting materials, totally screwing up your hard work. It's totally normal to feel frustrated and wonder why they were so careless when you put in so much effort. But if you look at it from a Stoic perspective, you'll realize their mistake is something you can't control. Getting angry just makes things worse. Instead of pointing fingers, try asking yourself what you can do to fix things. By accepting that things aren't perfect, you not only stay calm, but also come up with better solutions. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. Marcus Aurelius said to start each day by reminding yourself that you'll deal with challenges like rudeness, betrayal, and selfishness. Most of it comes from people not knowing right from wrong. So, kick off your day with that mindset. Knowing that imperfections are a part of life helps you tackle challenges with a strong mindset. It's not about being negative, it's just being realistic, which helps you deal with tough times more smoothly. When you embrace imperfection, it can change how you react. If someone lets you down, instead of getting mad, remind yourself they're human and may be facing their own issues. If you feel like someone doesn't get you, take a breath and try to clarify things instead of making assumptions. They might not have meant to hurt you. They just might not see things from your point of view. When someone is rude or criticizes you, ask yourself if it really hurts you or if it's just your interpretation making you feel bad. Accepting that things aren't perfect doesn't mean you're giving up on self-improvement. In fact, it frees you. When you stop expecting others to behave the way you want, you let go of disappointment and can focus on what really matters. For instance, in relationships, we often want our partner to understand us perfectly. But the reality is that even the people who love you the most can't always pick up on your feelings or needs. Instead of pointing fingers, try asking yourself if you can explain things better to help everyone understand each other. This way, you not only reduce frustration, but also create a sense of empathy. When you learn to embrace the world's imperfections, you'll start to appreciate its quirks. A careless coworker, an inconsiderate friend, or even a rude stranger can be chances to practice patience and kindness. Think about it. Have you ever messed up? If you want others to forgive you, why not extend that same grace to them? This mindset helps you remember that everyone has their own struggles. Including you, everyone is doing their best. As Seneca said, being brave means being free. Having the courage to face imperfections isn't just compassionate, it's a way to find inner freedom. Life doesn't need to be perfect for you to be happy. When you stop expecting perfection from others or the world, you free yourself from the weight of anger. Marcus Aurelius pointed out that your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. By letting those thoughts lead you, you can find peace even in the chaos. This isn't about settling for imperfection, it's all about living life, right? Number 5. Take responsibility for your feelings. When we learn to accept that the world isn't perfect, it's like a new door opens up, one that leads us to our inner selves. Sure, the world can be a mess, people don't always meet our expectations, and things often don't go the way we want. But do we really have to let that get to us? Accepting that things outside us aren't perfect is one thing. The bigger challenge is figuring out how to manage our emotions when we can't change what's happening around us. That brings up a pretty important question. Who's in charge of your emotions? You or the stuff you can't control? Stoicism pushes us to face this reality. Picture this. You're stuck in a long line at the supermarket on a hectic weekend, and someone just barges in front of you without even saying sorry or looking back. Right away, you're feeling annoyed and disrespected. You could shout out your frustration, mumble to yourself, or let that anger ruin your day. But there's another option. You can take a moment to ask yourself, is it really worth giving up my peace over this person's actions? They might be wrong, but my feelings are my own. Why should I let them control how I feel? If I choose to stay calm, something amazing happens. The irritation fades away. That person might not even realize how rude they are, but their actions won't bother me anymore unless I let them. It might take a bit longer to get over it, but my inner peace stays strong. That little incident just becomes another minor moment in my day instead of triggering a whole wave of negative emotions. When you take charge of your emotions, life feels a lot easier. In everyday life, we often give others control over how we feel without even realizing it. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or just ignores you, it's natural to feel hurt, angry, or down. But really, why let what someone else says or does affect your mood? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher and Roman emperor, pointed out that you have control over your mind, not the stuff happening around you. Get that, and you'll find your strength. His words remind us of a deep truth. You might not be able to control what others do, but you can definitely choose how you respond to them. Think back to a time when someone criticized you at work unfairly. It's easy to feel angry and frustrated in those moments, right? But what if you reminded yourself that your value isn't based on what others think? By changing how you react, you can take back control of your feelings. So, how do you do that? Start by taking a moment to pause. When something upsetting happens, ask yourself, am I overreacting? Is this really worth ruining my peace of mind? Taking a quick break gives you a moment to think before you react, letting you pick calm instead of chaos. Another great way to handle your feelings is to keep a journal. Every night, take a few minutes to think about what bothered you that day, how you reacted, and if there was a better way to respond. Doing this regularly helps you spot emotional patterns and learn how to manage them. Owning your feelings is the secret to a more peaceful life. Nobody can make you mad or upset unless you let them. Marcus Aurelius also said that if something outside is bothering you, the pain doesn't come from that thing itself, but from how you see it, and you can change that perspective anytime you want. His words remind us that our emotions belong to us, not to anyone else. Keep your peace, and you'll see that nothing can really shake your spirit. Do you agree with this? If you do, feel free to like and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really like to hear your stories and thoughts. If you have a different perspective, feel free to share it. It could lead to a really interesting and valuable discussion for all of us. Let's keep this journey going with the next lesson. Lesson 6. Practice not reacting in life. Unexpected moments can really catch us by surprise, like when a coworker criticizes you in a meeting, or a stranger cuts in line after you've been waiting patiently, or when someone throws a hurtful comment your way that leaves you feeling upset. These little things might seem minor, but they can really affect us. It can really mess with your mood, making you feel angry and frustrated. But is there a way to deal with those negative feelings and keep your cool when others act up? The key is learning how to not react. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you that counts, but how you respond to it. Thinking about this shows that your feelings come from your interpretation of what others do, not their actions themselves. For example, if someone criticizes you in a meeting, your first instinct might be to feel annoyed. If someone calls you out in front of everyone, it's easy to feel embarrassed and want to defend yourself or get back at them to save face. But take a second before you react. Ask yourself why you should let their words affect how you feel. Their rash behavior says more about them than it does about you. By choosing not to react, you keep your cool and stay professional. Think about handling it differently. Stay calm, maybe smile, and say thanks for the feedback, but let them know you'll get to it after sharing your thoughts. That little moment of chill gives you the upper hand. Instead of facing hostility, your calmness throws them off, and instead of getting dragged down by negativity, you walk away feeling confident and at peace. Seneca had it right when he said, "The best cure for anger is to take a step back." One of the smartest ways to not react is to just take a breather. When someone insults you, try not to react right away. Just take a deep breath and think about it. For instance, if a coworker sends you a harsh email, wait an hour or even a day before replying. This gives you time to process things and respond in a calm and thoughtful way instead of letting your emotions take over. Sometimes saying nothing is the strongest response. Not fighting back keeps you calm and stops others from messing with your feelings. Like they say, if a donkey kicks you, don't kick back. You both are acting like donkeys. This story reminds us that responding to negativity with more negativity just brings us down to that same level. Staying quiet doesn't mean you're weak. It actually shows real strength, the ability to rise above the urge to fight back right away. Imagine a heated argument where every word just makes things worse. If one person suddenly stops arguing, the anger starts to fade. The one who chooses to stay silent comes out on top, having controlled their emotions and kept their peace of mind. Think for a second about the last time you got really angry over something small. Was that anger really worth giving up your peace of mind? If you could rewind, how would you handle it differently? These questions really make you think and help you grow each day. Marcus Aurelius pointed out that if something outside is bothering you, the pain isn't really about that thing. It's about how you see it. And you can change that perspective anytime you want because you're in charge of how you react. Helps you handle life more easily. Not reacting doesn't mean just letting everything slide. It means figuring out what really deserves your time and energy. By practicing not reacting, you not only get a grip on your emotions, but also protect your inner peace. Remind yourself every day that while you can't control what others do, you can always control how you respond. Staying calm, being quiet, and keeping a steady heart are your best tools in this crazy world. And that's what Stoicism is all about. When we learn to stay calm and not overreact to what life throws at us, we start to feel lighter inside. The stuff that used to annoy or upset us just becomes small bumps in the road. As we let go of resentment and frustration, we create room for love, empathy, and giving. In this change, we find a deep joy. The joy that sometimes the best way to keep our peace is to forgive. It's a journey where our minds can finally chill out. Marcus Aurelius once said that when you wake up in the morning, remember what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, and to love. These words remind us of the blessings life offers us. Each morning gives us a fresh opportunity to love, to help others, and to open our hearts a little more than the day before. Forgiveness, according to him, isn't something far away or hard to do. It's just about realizing that helping others brings joy, not just to them, but to ourselves too. I remember a story about a friend who worked in a really stressful job. He often got criticized, sometimes unfairly, by his co-workers. But instead of getting mad, he decided to take a step back and think, are they dealing with something I don't know about? One day, he found out that one of the harshest critics was actually struggling with serious money problems. This really changed how he saw things. Instead of hitting back, he stayed quiet, listened, and even offered help when he could. Not only did their relationship get better, but the vibe at work also became way less tense. In families, little disagreements can blow up into big fights. Just think about having a relative who always criticizes you, no matter what you do. Their words can really sting, but keep in mind that their criticism usually comes from their own insecurities or issues, not from you. Once you get that, the anger starts to fade. Choosing to forgive doesn't mean you're okay with their bad behavior. It just means you're not letting it mess with your emotions. Anger usually comes from the expectations we have about how others should act. We think people should behave a certain way, but the truth is, the world isn't perfect, and everyone has their own struggles that we often don't see. Understanding this can help us let go of those expectations, and when we do, there's really no reason to be angry anymore. The cool thing about forgiveness is that it not only helps us get past our anger, but also brings real joy and relief. Remember a time when you helped someone without wanting anything back? How did that feel? Probably pretty peaceful and meaningful. Epictetus once said, "Nobody's truly free if they can't control themselves." Forgiveness isn't just about letting go. It's also about taking charge of your emotions. It's a kind of spiritual freedom that money can't buy. Modern studies back this up. People who do nice things for others and practice selflessness tend to be happier. Stoicism, with its ancient teachings, really got this. Forgiveness isn't just the right thing to do, it's also a way to live a richer, more meaningful life. Take a second to think, can I see this situation from their point of view? What might be behind their behavior? Asking yourself stuff like this regularly can help you feel less uncomfortable and more understanding. When was the last time you helped someone without wanting anything back? How did that make you feel? Thinking about those moments can help you practice forgiveness every day. Forgiveness doesn't have to be a big deal. Sometimes it's just about being patient with someone's mistakes instead of trying to control things you can't change. Focus on improving yourself. When you're kind to someone, appreciate the chance to do it instead of holding on to anger. Seneca said it well. Where there's a person, there's a chance for kindness. No matter where you are in life, you can always show compassion. Choose to forgive, not just for others, but for your own sake too. By giving and being understanding, you create a better world for yourself and those around you. Forgiveness isn't just something you do, it's the key to living a free and peaceful life. We just went over 7 ways to keep your cool and not let other people's anger or annoyances get to you. These ideas aren't just some deep thoughts, they're like a roadmap to real inner peace. By learning to accept things as they are, you start to flow with life. Letting go of judgment helps you drop the weight of prejudice. When you stop trying to control everything and accept that things aren't perfect, you take charge of your feelings and stop reacting impulsively. All these steps bring you closer to truly mastering yourself. As you go through life, discovering joy and kindness is the best gift you can give to both others and yourself. If you found this video helpful and haven't liked it yet, please take a moment to do so. It really helps us share these positive vibes. Feel free to share this video with your friends and family. Even a little message can really make someone's day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more inspiring content coming your way. Thanks for being here and see you in the next video.